First of all, thank you. I know it's late, and I appreciate you people staying and listening to us. My name is Barbara Swanson. I live in Narragansett. I'm an RN. I'm a mother of 2, and I'm a grandmother to 4. I'm also a volunteer with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. I was raised in a good home. My father was a graduate of Boston College. He was a nuclear physicist. My mother was a real estate broker. They had 5 children. They went to church every Sunday, lived in a big home in the best neighborhood. My father was bipolar with paranoid tendencies and an alcoholic, and he regularly mentally and physically abused us. He also had a license to carry concealed firearms. Abuse does not only happen in broken homes. There's no income guidelines for domestic abuse. Your neighbors, coworkers, people that you would never suspect are victims of domestic abuse. Women and children do not speak up because they are afraid for their safety or their family's safety. Finances, believe they deserve this, or for whatever reason, but there are reasons. And asking someone if they went to a shelter or ridiculous questions like that, these people are afraid. You can't imagine the fear if you've not lived it. And there are no words for me to accurately describe it so you can understand it. My father would threaten people that he was going to shoot them. And we feared my father every single day. But no one feared him as much as my mother. My brother would steal his guns from him and hide them if he saw or heard of any threats that my father made. And he made plenty. The police would come and demand my brother to return the guns, as my father had a legal license to carry. My brother's response was always, he's going to kill someone, and he shouldn't have them. The police would respond, when he does, then we'll arrest him. When my parents finally got a divorce, on the day they were supposed to be in court, there was a shooting near the courthouse. My brother left work and rushed to find my little sister. He knew it was my father who did the shooting. He thought my mother was dead, and my little sister was going to be next. Thankfully, it wasn't my mother. But tragically, it was another victim of domestic abuse who lost her life that day. The last words my father ever said to me was that he knew which room my husband and I slept in, and one night he would put a bullet in our heads. It has been medically proven, like Jean said, that there is a link between childhood history of abuse and adult populations having immune diseases. Stress-induced inflammation is not easily extinguished in persistently and chronically stressful environments, especially during early childhood when the brain and the central nervous systems are undergoing a remarkable rate of growth. I will not bore you with all the immune diseases I have been diagnosed with, but I will tell you that the doctors have attributed it to the abuse I suffered as a child. To reduce domestic violent homicides, it's important to prohibit people subject to final domestic abuse protective orders from possessing guns and to require them to turn in any guns they already have to law enforcement or a licensed gun dealer for the duration of the order. And I'm just going to add, to turn it into a third party my father would have talked you into giving it back to him. Federal law prohibits people under final domestic abuse protective orders from buying or possessing guns, but it does not provide a mechanism to ensure that abusers turn in the guns that they already own. Current Rhode Island law allows a court to order the abuser to turn in all firearms in his possession, care, custody, or control, but does not require the court to do so, and the court seldom does. No one ever thinks this tragedy will happen to them or their loved ones until it does. Research shows that a woman is 5 times more likely to be killed in a domestic violence situation when the abuser has a gun. Too many families live with this indescribable fear every single day, and I respectfully ask you to consider if it was your daughter or your mother or your aunt or your friend. We support strengthening gun safety laws to protect all victims of domestic violence, including dating partners, people who have been stalked, and people who have been granted a restraining order. We've been asking for action for 4 years. Every year, the legislature does not pass common sense laws to disarm known dangerous domestic abusers. Lives are at risk at Rhode Island, and they neglect to fulfill the obligation to protect those who need it most. This is unacceptable. Please do what's right for the victims of the state and pass this Family Act. And I just want to say, for those people who have guns and bear guns, if you're not a criminal, you don't have to worry about anything. If you're not a domestic violent abuser, you don't have to worry. I find it hard to believe that someone's life is worth less than your gun is worth. How much is a life worth? The cost of a gun? The cost of 10 guns? I find it inexcusable. I'm not against the Second Right Amendment. I am against criminals, having guns. Thank you.